Building a life outside of work, building a future outside of work, it requires an intentional means to be self-sufficient, or an intentional means, at least, to decrease the amount of effort, time, energy to a job and putting into somebody else's vision, somebody else's startup, somebody else's company. Moving abroad and living abroad, understanding options to limit the liability and your cost of living can directly affect that amount of time and energy where you deem that you're valuing yourself, but in the long term, in the long run, the bigger picture shows that you're devaluing yourself. It's just not what we're taught. In conjunction of that, finding out opportunities to work in a more passive setting, to work in a more limited setting, whether it's projects, contracts, right? Or you're working hourly, but hourly is, you're working 20 to 30 hours instead of 40 to 50. That decreases the time you spent exhausting yourself. And at the same time, it increases your longevity of living outside of work, now and later. I champion and I advocate for people controlling their own time, being able to work remotely and or passively. That means is lessened. The way we go about working is less with this mindset. This allows us to fund our life, whether it's financially or fund our life with being able to enjoy one another's time or just have more time for you. And that's the importance of understanding what it really means to escape the 9-to-5 grind. So I'm talking about still working at a smaller capacity. Again, at least to start off with, right? The goal for all of us, right? The world is so opportunistic as for us to be somewhat self-sufficient. And I say all of us loosely. But we have to take steps, at least steps, right? I just don't believe and subscribe to working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours every week until retirement, if I'm still planning or if I could retire. It's crazy. Nobody should do that. But there should be small steps to just increase our longevity while we're immediately decreasing our devaluing energy towards a job that can really control our life, that can cut us immediately for any reason, internal and external. So this helps us buy back time when we kind of understand that, like, okay, how can I work in a more passive means, right? So if this is of any interest to you, then please hit a sub. This is your first time seeing Black. Leave a like, drop a comment. The 9-to-5 grind, it creates a situation, a long-term and almost indefinite situation if you're not careful, to where you're succumbing to both internal and external pressures that keep you working forever. That can keep you broke or without or in debt forever, in debt to somebody else's time. The math doesn't math when we're working 40 to 50 hours a week, over 40 to 50 hours, over 40 to 50 years, a lifetime, right? And we can't do what we want. The math doesn't work. Even being wage laborers. Well, that's wage slavery, and slavery promotes an economic divide, even in the sense of finances. So check out my ebook if you guys are interested in actually changing your life a little bit. If you're interested in working in a more passive setting, not necessarily passive income, that's more on the investment side, but at least limiting the amount of time you have to work. I want to try something different. I want to be able to provide a different avenue, right? This is still safe and secure stuff. All you're doing is just working less. You're working more on your own time. So check out my ebook. It's in the bio, it's in the description. Working remotely to fund your own life on your own time. That's what I'm about.